a lot of times we'll see stuff on film that we'll get blamed for, but it might not be all our fault. But we've talked about it as a group, and we have to take that responsibility, and that's just part of it. And if we'll take that responsibility, it's fine with us because we just want to work harder.
Just talk about the satisfaction on the offensive line as a whole when you have a big running game like you did and season high on Saturday.
Right, it feels good. It's kind of like all that hard work's finally paying off, and we can kind of answer all those questions anybody had because people were doubting us if we could run the ball or if we could protect Taj, and I think we did a pretty good job on Saturday, and we showed that we could run the ball and we could be physical.
Was that the focal point for you guys going in? Was trying to prove that point, maybe to yourselves?
Right, and yeah, we talked about it as an offensive line, to kind of prove that, and also take some pressure off Taj. And when you can run the ball like we did, I think it took some pressure off of him. So that way, when we did pass, he wasn't as pressured. We weren't in third and long situations as much, and the defense didn't know we were passing for sure. So that can slow down the pass rush a little bit and help Taj out.
You guys still feel like perhaps maybe it's frustrating that this season you guys haven't played a complete game, whether it's from a rushing standpoint, passing standpoint, or ball security standpoint?
Right.
Is that frustrating with this unit right now?
It's definitely frustrating, but we're always trying to improve. Even if we did play a really good game, there's really no such thing as a perfect game because there's always things you can improve on. And yes, there are things that we'd like to improve on more and try to have a more complete game. But other than that, we're always trying to improve. So.
With all these sort of negative questions, people questioning the run game, the ball security, do you even feel like a top 10 team right now?
Honestly, not really, because there are a lot of questions, and I think we have the potential. That's really all it is right now is potential, because until the very end, nobody's really a for sure top 10 team, because the rankings right now, they're starting to matter a little bit more. But it's like Coach Sweeney always talks about the rankings at the beginning of the season don't mean anything. It's all about where you finish. So that's what we're trying to accomplish and show people, that we are a top 10 team, and we really want that to show this month and now more than ever, because it's starting to get towards the end where rankings do matter.
Wouldn't that mean a great deal to you and perhaps this program if you start the year in the top 10 and finish? But knowing and able to do that, you really have to close out strong. You probably can't afford to lose another game.
Right, and it would mean a lot, because it just shows that we can be consistent. A lot of people have questioned our consistency. They say we could win a big game here and there, but we'll choke. But it just goes to show that we can be consistent. And it would be a great just statement to make for this year, and showing that we are a top 10 team and we deserve to be where we're at.
Did you feel like the offense ever really got into a rhythm at any point on Saturday, maybe late in the game when the points started piling up? Did that feel different to you guys?
I think so. I think we're in a pretty good rhythm right there at the beginning. We were running the ball well, moving the ball. We just couldn't finish drives. And right there at the end, we did. We kind of made some adjustments down there at the goal line for what they were showing us, and we did get the ball in the end zone. And that was definitely a good feeling, because we were moving the ball in the open field, and then once we got down to the goal line, we were capitalizing, finishing those drives. So definitely felt like we got in a good rhythm.
So at the beginning of the game, you guys did feel like there was some positive momentum building.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys were getting the field.
Yeah, there's definitely a positive momentum, and any time a field goal is still good, and if you're finishing drives like we always talk about, if you're finishing drives and a kick, you're doing pretty well, because that means you're not turning the ball over. And whether we're kicking for an extra point or a field goal or a punt, you want to finish drives and kicks, because that means you're not turning the ball over and getting your defense a chance.
Why do you feel the offense has struggled in the red zone, the past couple of weeks, but obviously specifically in Maryland, as far as getting touchdowns as opposed to field goals?
I think there's a number of things. A few times they had a really good defensive line, and they were really strong at the point of attack, and we had to kind of switch up our schemes a little bit, because in the open field we could run more zone schemes and spread them out a little bit. But right there at the goal line, they're all packed in, and they got 8 or 9 guys coming in, to make a tackle. So we had to run a little bit more gap scheme, trying to get the ball outside and mix it up a little bit. But not to take anything away from them, because they're great defense too. So that had a lot to do with it.
Is it just a matter of being more physical in that instance, or is it a matter of just the scheme at that point needs to be a little bit better, or is it a combination of the two?
I think it's a combination. And like you said, if we could be more physical, that would always help. And at some point, you just want to be. You want to say hey, we're physical enough that we can get in no matter what they're running. But at times, it can be, it's an uphill battle sometimes if they know what you're doing in there. So it helps to switch it up a little bit and kind of keep the defense on their, keep them off their A game, I guess you'd say, kind of keep them guessing, not knowing, like, hey, they're going to run it right here. Let's go ahead and stack everybody right there, so that helps a lot.
Coach, you want to be that offensive line where even if they know you're running it, you guys...
Oh, yeah, you definitely want to be the offensive line, but it's like I said, you can't – sometimes you got to swallow your pride, and we got to do something different because ultimately points are what matters. And just because even though we're trying to prove something, if we're not getting points out of it, then it's not really doing us any good. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tyler.
Appreciate it.